Hello and welcome to Redefining the Significance of You Time for You, by you, because of you. My name is Denise Drinkwalter, and I'm an empowerment life coach supporting women around the globe to lean into and realize the importance of you. The goal of this channel is to provide you, the viewer, with some takeaways that will help you shift, change, reevaluate, and become way more aware of what is possible for you. We have a variety of incredible guests that will be sharing their life experiences that have helped them become the incredible human beings that they are today. Every one of us, sometime in our lives, has that infamous free time, and frequently don't we feel guilty or embarrassed and or completely wrong for taking that time out for ourselves? We are here to change that and to support you, to show you what is possible for you when you take time for you, by you, because of you. It is an absolute honor and a privilege to welcome to our show today, Rifa Thorpe-Tracey. Rifa is a trailblazer in the tech and creative industries with an impressive track record spanning 27 years. As a seasoned board director of tech startups and creative organizations, Rifa's expertise is absolutely unparalleled. Her dedication to empowering women in these industries led her to establish a thriving network, shaping the careers of countless professionals. Since 2015, Rifa has been a guiding force, coaching and mentoring individuals, helping them unearth their true passions, true passions, and charting a course towards success. With a portfolio of 80 glowing testimonials on her LinkedIn profile, Rifa's impact is absolutely undeniable. She specializes in helping women break through financial barriers, enabling them to achieve their dreams and live a first-class life. Get ready to be inspired and empowered as we dive into the world of innovation and transformation with the incredible Rifa Thorpe-Tracey. So wonderful to have you with us here today.
Thank you so much, Denise. It's so wonderful to be here with you.
You are from where, my dear?
So I was born and brought up in London. I live on the south coast of England in a small city called Brighton, which has a global reputation. We like to think that we're like a mini San Francisco because of the arts and culture and digital tech scene here, but also well-being. All kinds of creative people make their way to Brighton. And my family are actually from the island of Mauritius, and they came to the UK in the 1960s.
Amazing. So is all your family now here, or are they still spread out?
They're all over. They're all over the world. I'm from a very big family, so I have family all over the place. But yes, quite a lot of my family are in the UK.
Beautiful. How did you ever begin your journey in the tech world? Because as a former educator for 31 years, and this could be a little bit to the side of the conversation, but it pulls it in so you can hear where I'm coming from, but not unusual for men in general to be the techie folk behind the scene and women to not be that way, but the doors seem to be opening up more. Would that be something you're recognizing and seeing? What's going on in the world around that?
Yeah, for sure. I do hope that we are moving the needle a bit more. Yeah, it's really interesting because, well, I started because I really was interested in media and communications. I did a degree that had some elements of music production, video production, and I actually started doing something called desktop publishing, if you remember that.
Yeah.
Laying out of magazines on computers, and that's what I started out as. And then I had a lecturer at university who was actually making the first sort of CD-ROMs, and he introduced me to some people making the very first websites ever when nobody had the internet at all. And we were and then later I worked for some early companies who were making websites and digital marketing. And in the late 90s, early 2000s, I worked for some bigger agencies. I was a producer on the first Channel 5 in the UK's website. That was when the BBC hadn't even got their website sorted. They had a news website. And those first websites were basically pioneering, because we didn't have a framework. We didn't know what design of a website was. So we would like come up with some interesting ideas of what to do with images and audio and visual work. So yeah, it was a real inspiring time. But that was obviously before broadband, before social media, before people had smartphones. So yeah, it was a really interesting time. So being very organized and having spreadsheets and plans that came really from my background in print and design production, that really helped me to be a person that was, let's say, indispensable when everyone else was making the actual websites.
Amazing. Oh, my brain, as you're sharing, I'm like, yes, I remember what desktop publishing stuff. And I remember, wow, you probably are in awe in terms of where, like you're talking the social media nowadays and what's happening with all of that, like the phone in the pocket, like everybody's connected anymore. Do you see major benefits? And do you see drawbacks? And is that something that you find impacts the clientele that you support?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's incredible what we've got in our pockets, like you say, you know, the power that we have to be able to spread our message, to be seen, to connect with audiences globally. You know, it used to be so difficult even to send an email or to like chat to somebody, you know, and now we're just connected in such a way that we could never really even imagine before. You know, when I was first working on websites, nobody was really looking at them, you know, and nobody really knew the benefits of the having being so connected. But now, obviously, we can get the news at our fingertips when there's such trauma going on in our own lives. Being too absorbed with media, and I mean across all media, you know, TV, news, we really have to learn to be discerning and filter what we're consuming, because it can be very distracting, let's say that, and it can be really affect us energetically, emotionally, and just draining as well. So it's trying to have a balance. I tend to broadcast more than absorb, but you can't help but be affected by what's going on at the moment, certainly in the world.
Absolutely. The clients that you work with, what would something that people who are listening go, I need to talk to Rifa because this is where I'm struggling. What types of things do you provide in terms of support? What are your clients looking for so that we can really make sure that we're speaking to those who are in the room going, well, I don't know, what does Rifa do, right? Share that a little bit with us. Yeah.
So I work with people who are maybe at a crossroads in their life. So they are maybe birthing a new business. They're really concerned about maybe being seen. Maybe they're already in a career that they're enjoying, but they're not sure where the next step is for them. And I think with women in particular, and that means women at any stage in their career, they may be worrying about imposter syndrome, confidence, and they're just not clear about what they want. And they've just never spent the time working out what they want, and what they're concerned about is what they should be doing and what the right answer is. I help them.
Yeah. Keep going. Yeah.
I help them get clear about what they want. I used to think that I was there on the planet to sort of help them birth their big vision, but they needed a step before that, which was around clarity about what they want right now, where they are right now, where they want to be, and how to get there is how I help my clients.
Beautiful. And I love how you say it doesn't necessarily matter where you are in terms of your time frame of life, right?
Sure. The very, very first client I ever had, I was actually delivering a talk about project management at an event. And this woman was like staring at me from across the room, and she looked really grumpy, and she had like this really negative body language. And I thought, oh God, I don't want to talk to this woman. And then when she came up to me, she was in such turmoil about her life. And she'd had this successful business with her husband, and they were splitting up, and her whole identity was wrapped up in that. And I realized that my coaching is really life coaching. I'm not just a business coach. I bring in meditation, I bring in healing practices, and people just open up. And once they open up, then we can really do that deep work of transformation.
Amazing. How do you know so much about the healing work?
So it's really interesting. I once saw someone, an Akashic Records reader, who said to me, "You've come in with 4 lifetimes, 4 lifetimes worth of work." And it does feel like there are different versions of me that has been running at the same time. So while I was doing my freelance career as a project manager with all these digital agencies, on the weekends and on the evenings, I was taking as many courses as I could. I trained as a Reiki master in the end. I learned to be an advanced meditation teacher with Indian gurus, and worked with Tibetan Buddhist monks in Nepal. Basically, I just took every opportunity to meet teachers and guides along the way. Even saw lectures with Julia Cameron, who wrote The Artist's Way, and met Deepak Chopra. So I just want to learn as much as possible. And it was really my own healing journey, because I suffered from depression. I overstretched myself, overwhelmed myself as a younger person. And now I feel like it's almost my duty to help other women so that they can thrive.
Love that. Your journey has been very vast and yet very deep. And so you have got such a capacity to hold space for these women who need support. And I love what you're saying, how the body language was like, "Oh no, I don't want to talk to her. She's mad." But the fact that you open yourself up to be able to understand what was going on for her, I'm sure you do that with all your clients to a depth that not everybody absolutely can the way that you do. That's amazing.
Thank you. And just to say about this lovely woman that was my first client, she said to me, I want to spend a day with you, or half a day with you, and work out what I should do next. And I want to learn about how to dress and what I should look like. And it was all these different facets as being a woman, being seen in the world. And she just basically, my main advice to her was just give her permission to rest and to just recharge before the next time I saw her. Next time I saw her, she had amazing pink hair. I should have said as well, she was in her 50s when this was all happening. And I really thought in my head that when I started coaching, I would be working with much younger women for some reason. And actually, that's what I was saying before, that women and everyone needs some support at some point in their life. And it could be any time.
Absolutely. Yeah. And isn't it beautiful that I believe in things happen as they're meant to happen deeply in my soul. So the fact that that interaction occurred the way it did, the timing that it did, and the fact that you opened up to that first client just started your journey, that you knew somehow in the depths of your soul that that was going to be what was going to happen. The reality is, don't you find that the more we push to make it in a certain way, the more we don't give ourselves that full opportunity. So is that something that you support the women to achieve their dreams and live that first class life that they're looking for? Is that a process?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that whole thing of surrender to the process, I share a formula for success, which is intent plus action plus question mark, which is the trust in the divine, in the serendipity, in the chance meetings, but also just to surrender into and rest, knowing that the universe has got you, or your divine is protecting you. And so many times, even as a project manager, sometimes we were working with technology that we just didn't understand, or I didn't know a solution. I would just go in the bathroom and be like, I'm just going to hand this over to a higher force and just see what happens. And usually just breathing into it, something's got to shift, something's got to change, even if it's just, waiting and see what happens.
And so the power, what I'm hearing you say, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the power lies within you, even though you don't see how that's even truly possible.
Yes, because for sure. Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just have to wait for the stars to align, or someone else to take a breath, or something else to happen. And we can't force that that process.
Exactly. Right. So you're talking about the power to surrender.
Yeah.
It's an oxymoron, power, surrender. But the reality is, when you give into, I've done all that I can. I've done all that I can. And that rest, don't you find, women in particular, that is a negative Nelly word, rest. That means I'm giving up. That means I'm defeated. Do you hear that, or do you get that message back a lot? Yeah.
Yes. And just the fact that, we don't want to invest in ourselves. We don't want to, be quiet, and we find it difficult to sit still. And I saw a comment, I hate meditation, and it was such an interesting way of seeing it. But I remember those feelings because we are also, when we're working so hard, we are in that adrenaline cycle. So it feels really abnormal, it feels alien to just stop. And almost we feel guilty for trying to just be still. And now, after years of practicing meditation, I get that sense of being in that warm bath and sinking into it. And I used to be really jealous of people who would say, I love meditating, I've got to go and do my meditation now at a certain time. And I'd be like, oh, that's like, what are you doing? And now I get it. But again, it's the process, isn't it? It's the process of just unfolding without us trying too hard.
Right. And so it's exactly what this whole program is about, is redefining the significance of you time and giving that time back to yourself in whatever way is best for you in the moment and the time that you are in, right? And we talked at the beginning, like, guilt-free you time. And I heard you say, I used to be jealous of those people who could say, I can't wait for my meditation. Like, I can't do it, right? It's like, but it's a journey. Good things don't happen overnight. And just committing to yourself. You mentioned earlier that, women tend not to invest in themselves, in what is something they feel, I can do it. I've got this. I'll figure it out. But in that process, don't I find anyway with my clients, is that when they've tried to figure it out on their own, not that they've lost time, but they haven't understood the real learning that existed through that journey. Because what I find is I talk with them about what happened, and then they get some new learnings through our conversation that they can't see because sometimes we're too close to the forest for the trees, right? Can't see the forest because we're in the trees. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And sometimes it's just that, for me, with my clients, it's just about giving them permission and showing them that I've really seen and heard what they've said, and allowing them some possibilities, and often they get stuck in a binary of like, should
Yeah.
I stay or should I go from my job? Should I start a business or not start a business? Or, any number of things. But they just forget that there are a myriad of possibilities.
Right.
And that the universe is trying to give them something better, that there are other ways of working. In fact, I've worked with people where we just kind of brainstorm the qualities of what they would like to do in their work or in their business, and they've created something completely new, or a job appears to them where it is a completely new thing.
Yeah.
And it was almost that they were stopping themselves from even dreaming of the possibilities. So that's really valuable, I think.
Absolutely. In one question that I do have when you're talking about possibilities and dreaming, who is your inspiration? You've talked about a number of people on the journey of your life thus far that you've lived, but do you have anyone in particular that's your inspiration? Or
so when I was growing up, I really wanted to be a TV presenter. I really wanted to be on a camera with a microphone talking to interesting people and being interviewed or interviewing people. And I always loved Oprah. I always loved the idea that she's connecting with ordinary people, giving them a platform, listening to their problems and helping them. And she started as a radio presenter. And I just love her because she's so authentic, and she got so much in the press, people commenting about her, and she just showed up every single day. And then now is obviously this spiritual guru and helps so many people through her work on a whole different level. And her story is so tragic in many ways, but obviously she's transcended that. And to be such a media mogul as well. I mean, just no one touches her, basically. She's my inspiration.
I love it. I love what you're saying, because she absolutely knows who she is and what she's about. And it doesn't matter what comes at her. From what we see anyway, is that she continues to just know herself in such a way that she doesn't get knocked off. And I love what you're saying. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm going to tag her in our conversation. So maybe, Oprah, if you watch this interview, reach out and have a conversation with Rifa.
You never know. You never know. I'm actually linked in and followed on Twitter by President Obama. So you never know.
Beautiful. You don't. That's the beauty of technology and social media these days, isn't it?
Isn't it?
We will have in the show notes how people can connect with you to have further conversation, to find out how to reach out to you, how to connect with you. You've got an inspiring website. I am so honored you have spent some time here with us today. I know you're so busy. Contact Rifa. Again, it's in the show notes, but it's Rifa, rifa.co.uk. And those will be in the show notes. So make sure you go and check out all of what she has to offer. Rifa, what a privilege. It's so wonderful to be in your energy. Thank you so much for sharing what you were able to share with us today, because I know that our listeners have some gold nuggets for sure.
Thank you so much, Denise.
Have a great day. Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye. Those of you who are not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you do, because you want to watch every upcoming interview that we have and go back and check all the ones we've done so far. Thank you for joining us. And it is time to redefine the significance of you time, for you, by you, because of you. Have a great day, everyone.